Are you tired of us yet?
Yes. The band's like, yes.
This is just like the last thing that happened.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know the story.
Well, we're doing a panel now, but
This is a chance. What?
it's
That
an
intro?
Well,
Just now?
I mean, I don't know.
Well, we had to
Sir,
introduce.
how do you introduce yourself? Like it's a hat and a hat.
I'm so-and-so.
That's what we did.
People paid money to see us come out on stage.
Well, I think they pay money to see other people.
That's actually true.
I think we're the caulking fills in the gaps.
Like you're
And
here,
people
we're
love
here.
caulk. I mean, a lot of caulk lovers here.
Have you guys been doing this all weekend?
Yeah, that's what we do.
We don't want to be caulky, but we think we do a
In
good
all
job.
fairness, you're not our demo.
Score half a point for the wee guy.
Oh, that's me!
This is becoming the weirdest.
I'm on fleek. Help everybody, I'm on fleek.
This is my theme song.
I actually think that's Rowena's theme music.
This is this new fusion jazz band I have. It's our new fusion jazz concept album. Stop it now. Stop. No more. You're freaking me out. Let's keep it together, everybody. Keep it together. Fantastic. Thank you so much. The alienating comedy of Virginia Jr.
I really think that should be our new intro song.
It's very mean you.
Yeah. And now next to the stage. Rob Benedict. Richard Speight, bring him out.
You know, it's really tough, as I've got all this piping right into my ear canal. That was bad enough, but then you recreated, that was really a nightmare. But good stuff, bud.
Yeah, man.
Guys, this is Rich and I'm Rob, if you don't know that already.
Sweet Jesus, you're hammered. If you don't know who we are, my God, it's time to hit the big red button because you need professional help. We have been on this stage longer than the felt. You know what I mean?
We're here to
And we're in
talk to you.
shittier shape.
What?
So we're going on the.
We're in shittier shape than the felt.
We have more footprints on our back. Thank you.
We're here to talk to you about all things Rob and Rich. Kings of Con, the show that Rich and I produced together.
Damn right.
Supernatural, little TV show we both been on.
Don't tune.
Rich is a director,
Yeah, sometimes.
writer, actor.
Robbie's on it. Rob plays God. I mean, it's hard to do better than that. You play God.
That's true.
The Almighty.
That's true. I will never. I've reached that ceiling. Part to ceiling.
Hey man, it's only the top. Should we take questions?
Let's do it.
To save people from listening to this BS for the next. You. Hi.
So I have a question for both of you about each other. If you two had gone missing and you had to describe each other's physical attributes for a police sketch artist,
I would show them a photo. What the hell are you talking about? Walk me through the world where photography doesn't exist. And there's no videos or images of Rob to capture.
it's a zombie apocalypse, you can't show photos.
Well, the cops aren't going to give a shit. They have bigger fish to fry. I said, well, ironically, the zombie apocalypse, I'm like, there's a guy who looks like the star of Walking Dead. He's missing. And he probably had his brain eaten. And so, Robbie and I have been on several trains where people think he's the star of Walking Dead. The guy's name was Lincoln something, right?
Andrew Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln. And Robbie, the guy, he's like, we were on our way to Comic-Con. And I was sitting kind of across the aisle from another dude, and Robbie and I were talking, then Rob went to get food or something, and the guy's like, I cannot believe, I just posted on Facebook, I took a snake photo of you guys, here I am on the train with Abe Lincoln. And I go, who? You're not, that's not, this is Rob Benedict. He's not Abe Lincoln. And he's like, oh shit. Delete my Facebook post.
That's pretty good. They went to Facebook. Who did the person yesterday think I was at the airport?
Grover Cleveland.
I'm always mistaken for presidents.
people, they think you're one of our founding fathers. They never know.
Teddy Roosevelt? No. Rob Benedict. This person thought I was the guy on the doctor show, the Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah, our waitress. She thought Rob was Patrick Dempsey.
I know. I was excited. That's what I did. They cheered.
Rob hugged the woman to the ground. You're so flattered.
Rich, would be hard to describe to someone because his look is always changing.
Yeah, I think
so. I have to be like he either looks like a member of the Eagles,
right?
With a long beard and long hair, or short hair, no beard. Looks like the boy who delivers your newspaper, or he might have a porn mustache and medium hair. It just depends when he went missing. Or I'd say, did you ever see Band of Brothers? And describe it.
And the guy said, yeah. You go, he was the one in green. So find him. Thank you for your question. You.
It's about time.
You.
I have a comment to share for Rob and the band. This morning I was sitting in a bar watching some football, and this couple next to me were some of the people up in the balcony. And they've been here 2 weeks, and they said it was the best music they've heard the entire time they've been here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for that. Real sweet.
I got a kick out of Jensen when he was on stage going, yeah, it's great to have all y'all here. And for any of you folks staying in the hotel and didn't know you'd be at a concert tonight.
Yeah. Even those who didn't sign up for this.
Apologies.
My favorite moment with Jensen last night, we laughed about it afterwards, but I was like, so this next song, so nice to have him here, I can tell the story with him here. I'll never forget it, when we wrote it, sitting in the chair and said, can we just sing the song? Yep, sure thing, let's sing it.
It was after that, you came backstage, I think before the encore, and you go, you and Jensen are exactly the same.
Yeah, what were we talking about? And I said, yeah, well, you're both directors, you both have that director vibe.
Oh, you were talking about the Tough Mudder video.
You said your imitation of Jensen is starting to sound like your imitation of me, and I said,
right.
That's because you're both the same. That way, you both have that very director sensibility, like, I don't get it. Let's cut the intro. Cut it for John. You know what I mean? You both have that thing about you. And
tell them about the Tough Mudder video.
When I first made this Tough Mudder, we all ran the Tough Mudder race a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I cut together a video for it. I eventually posted the video for everyone to see. But when I first cut the video together, it was just for the friends. It was just for the guys who'd done the race. And so I sent it to everybody, and the only ones who didn't comment on it were Richard and Jensen. So I was like, hey guys, did you see the video? And both of them were like, yeah, I did. few notes. I start with the wide shot. What's it do with that? I'm gonna come in closer. Like, I shot him with a GoPro. There's no why. All right, but in Act 1, I feel like during the commercial break, should have come sooner with what? It's just a video I made for my friends. Like, yeah, it drags a little.
You were so annoyed. You're like, you guys are assholes. I don't have notes.
At 5 minutes 40, you see me coming over the wall, and then you cut to a random shot of Jared, and I think she did, what? No, just... I was looking for, it's great, I loved it.
Oh, sorry. It was great, we loved it. That was fine, that's so funny, forget about that. Anyway.
You do a great Jensen when he shows up for a scene, what does he do?
What are we doing? But that's Jensen when he shows up for anything. Jensen and I were playing cards, and we were sitting catty corner, so it was some game that I don't know if they made it up or it's a real game. I have no idea. I have no idea what the game was. But I was on Padalecki's team, so Jared and we sit in an angle. And Misha and Jensen were sitting in an angle, across from each other, or catty corner from each other. Wherever the hell it is, you know what I'm saying? And so, we were getting beaten. Jared and I were getting beaten badly because I did not understand the game. I did not care that I didn't understand the game. So I wasn't trying that hard to figure out why I was losing. So at some point, they were telling the score on these points, and they had just scored a huge number of points. And Jensen, I'll take the glass over this, but Jensen was like, staring at me. And from over here, Misha goes, Jensen, I don't know why you're so mad at him. We're crushing him. We're like, you're winning. And he goes, this is my face when I'm winning. This is my face when I'm losing. This is my face.
Classic.
It's like, okay. I don't know what to do with that. But he does have that thing where he walks in and he's saying, like, before shooting a scene, when we were ordering a beer, it doesn't matter. He walks in like, what are we doing? We're in a restaurant. What do you think we're doing? Juggling. We're ordering food. We're doing food. We're doing the food bit.
Let's do it.
He's so hilariously terse. I sent him this heartfelt text, Jared and Jensen, when I directed my first episode of Supernatural, which was 2 seasons ago, because it was such a spectacular opportunity for me, and I was so grateful to all the producers and everybody who allowed me to have that opportunity, and two of the people who allowed me to have that opportunity are Jared and Jensen. It's their house, it's their show, they've been fronting it forever, and it matters to them who helms the episodes, and for me to get that chance was a huge deal for me. So I was very grateful. And so, not to beat a dead horse, because they're good friends, and it almost goes without saying, but I felt like it needed to be said, so I sent a heartfelt text to both guys. That was, a paragraph. And Jared responded with something like, oh, thanks, man, it's a pleasure. And Jensen's response was, I'm going to need you to send shorter texts. True. He did that, and then the last episode, I was clean shaven right before I went up to direct this last episode. My newest episode airs on Thanksgiving, so the Thanksgiving episode is when I was clean shaven for whatever reason. I don't remember. I know why. I had done the Hillywood Girls parody of Stranger Things, and so I was all clean shaven. And he walked in the green room and he goes, I'm gonna need you to do something about that before you not shave? Okay. Funny man. All right, you.
Hello. My question is, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever received from a parental figure?
Parental figure like our parents? My dad told me, he said, my dad traveled a lot when I was a kid. And so when I started traveling a lot when I was younger, he said, when you're in a town, it's not your own town. Do the things they do in that town. Don't do what you do. Eat what they eat. Watch the games they play. Sample what that town, city, community, or country does. Because that's what makes traveling interesting. And it's true. I mean, Robbie and I are both really good about that. We're both foodies, and so we'll go to restaurants, and I think we always go into try to find a local place and literally go, what is it you guys hang your hat on? What do you do? What's your thing? You know, so.
Yeah, you're great at it, and and I always laugh about it with Richard because he knows something about almost everywhere in the world. You know what I mean? They'll be like, when we raised money for the show, we did Skype calls with lots of people. So Richard would say, where are we talking to you from? And they'd say, Norman, Oklahoma. And you're like, oh, great, is there a diner there on the corner? So there's the best cheeseburgers. Yeah, there is, yeah, great spot. They usually do something about every place. And I think that's because and like whenever we go to Toronto, you always go get poutine.
Yeah.
It's something you like to do.
Yeah.
When we go to Montreal next year, I'm sure you'll be all over that poutine.
I'm gonna try that smoked mystery meat you guys are so proud of.
Oh, yeah. We're not there.
I'm gonna try it though.
It's Hawaii.
When I get there.
Pretty far from Montreal.
Tell you what, I had a handful of macadamia nuts when I got here. You know, trying to clock in.
Yeah. I mean, I had some pretty great uncles who left me with a lot of great advice, and I can't remember any of it right now. But oh, I know. My uncle Jerry is the best, and he's really funny. And when I had my first child, he said, "These are the three things you have to remember." And I really only remember the third, but the first one was like, love always wins. And the secondly is like, it's okay to fall down. You just have to remember to get back up. And the third is, farts are funny. I thought that was so great. Like, when you have a kid, because it's true.
You know what's funny?
They fart all the time.
And they're funny.
And they're funny. It's just funny.
I put in Kings of Con, since we're the Kings of Con panel, there was a scene in the one where Matt, I work out with Matt and I can't move my arms, that one, where I say, my dad always gave me two pieces of advice. Always keep a blue blazer in your suitcase, jumper cables in your car, and a 15-minute circus act in your back pocket. The first two things were actually advice from my father. I said, always keep a blue blazer in your suitcase and jumper cables in your car. He didn't say the circus act bit. That was, we added that for comedy, but, yeah. And I do that, and I do have that blazer, because remember we were in Toronto, we were going to a nice dinner, Fletch and I both came back, you're like, you wear a blazer, so like, always have blazers on hand, man. Might find yourself in a nice restaurant. Totally. Gotta have a blazer.
That's the cutest.
Thank you for your question.
Thank
You.
Hi. Rich, I enjoyed your intro for Rob, but you did miss one important thing that he has on his credits list.
Okay.
Which is that he's the 2017 Bachelor of the Year on a very important Bachelor podcast.
This is true.
You're married.
Yes, but on the show that I do, this podcast that I do, I've been elected Bachelor of the Year. It doesn't mean I'm dating. It's more like I just got the sash at the last convention. Somebody brought me a sash. This is Bachelor of the Year. It's really more than I'm the face of the podcast. And I go around
for all bachelors.
It's not about being a bachelor. It's about having a guilty pleasure in watching the show The Bachelor, right? That's what the podcast is all about. And so they've elected me Bachelor of the Year. It's just a funny little... I love so much that you listen and like it. There have been like a smattering of guests who watch and listen to this podcast.
It is, but see, I do think, I did not know that. Congratulations.
It's a bit,
I do think if I introduced you consistently as 2017's Bachelor of the Year, I think I might get an angry phone call from somebody who shares your last name. She might say, let's put a pin in the Bachelor of the Year.
True, I don't know. Let's see what happens. No, you're probably right, but it's a funny bit. And,
that's funny.
Yeah, but it also goes to show, like, out of context, if someone having to explain the I love cock shirts to people who don't know that it's Kings of Con,
Oh, Coke.
All right. Gosh.
I love Kosh. Yeah, man, that's good stuff.
Have you ever gotten Rich to watch?
No, he won't watch. He does the opposite of watch. He really doesn't like it.
As long as there's life in my body, I wouldn't watch The Bachelor if it was the only thing on television and somebody duct taped my face to the television with my eyes open and then turned it on. I would force my eyeballs to roll back into my head to avoid watching The Bachelor.
You can laugh. You can throw things, but we on the podcast we talk about it. It's one of the funniest shows on television because it's a complete mess. It's the worst television show ever. We're not watching going, oh, this is the best. You know what I mean? It's not like better than Game of Thrones. It's ridiculous television.
Right.
At the end of the season, you wish you had those hours back. And you can't stop watching. And you find yourself going, ooh, who's she gonna pick? And then 2 days later, you can't remember who she picked. Because it doesn't mean anything to you. And so on the podcast, we talk about that. We gotta hate watch it. You know what I mean? That's the comedy.
Never heard the term hate watch. That's funny.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. But it's like, then you kind of turn a corner watching that show. You turn a corner, you're like, is this show awful or is it genius? It's like, nobody comes to a date on a horse, or whatever it is, right? These people are dum-dums. It's just funny.
That's awesome. Did you make up the term hate watch?
No, people say hate watch.
Man, that's good.
But hey, you can credit me.
I like that. Dick Jr. presents
I like it.
Rob Benedict's hate watch. It's like Baywatch, only you just sit there and get angry when people drown. Thank you. Hey.
Hi. I just wanted to say that last night was the most amazing experience, and thank you for putting on that performance.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being a part of it.
I'm with you.
And this is for the both of you. How was it last night performing where once Elvis performed?
I meant to say that during the show and I completely forgot.
Elvis performed right there?
Yeah.
And on that line?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
I know. I just said
I
something.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dude,
Crazy.
you're Bachelor of the freaking year. Wouldn't you come to announce that?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It was a real misstep on my part. In all fairness, we had a time crunch.
The king.
I know.
You know, the time crunch. You're the time crunch. You can't bring Gabriel back. Not enough time. You can't announce that Elvis played there. Tick-tock, watch the clock. Jeez, man.
That is a hell of a segue.
I'm just saying.
It's like, I could have said, like, I took out the trash, and you couldn't even bring Gabriel back.
There are people in the fandom who wish Gabriel would return to the show. Not that much, you know.
I didn't write it.
Dude, you have all the power that is bestowed on the Bachelor of the Year.
You're not wrong.
I mean that you wield that power. Use it for good, man.
Okay. Quid pro quo. Is it?
What'd you say?
I said quid GoPro.
Quit using my GoPro?
Quid GoPro. Quid GoPro.
Okay.
Okay? One of us is involved behind the scenes of the show, has the power to bring people back, cast people. You are given that power. I haven't been on the show in a season and a half.
I beg you to snorkel the unicorn. I beg you. I bended knee. And you said nay.
Didn't say that. I was imitating a horse.
Thank you. You can't write this shit.
But we'll try it later.
Because it's shit. But that won't stop us from scribbling it down when we get backstage. Oh, wow.
Good stuff.
Solid stuff. All right, let's go over here. You.
I hope you guys are doing well.
We're doing fine.
I just wanted to ask, kind of going off of now, like what you were saying earlier about, learning about where you're going to or visiting. So I don't know if you know, but like in Hawaii, there's like legends of like night marchers, which are like Native Hawaiians or like possibly relatives, that have passed away, and you kind of hear like their spirits. So I was wondering if like you visited anywhere where you've learned about, folklore or anything like that you would be interested in seeing on the show, or if you have anything that you would just make up.
Here in Hawaii, have we visited
In our travels.
Oh, no, our travels. Oh, okay.
I mean, or you can, if...
I remember doing, I'm interested in that stuff. I know we have a couple of guys like
Chad
Lindbergh. Yeah, Chad Lindbergh, who's super into getting in touch with ghosts and hearing, and he has that sensibility to be able to do that. I was in Savannah, Georgia one time. I took the Haunted Savannah tour, and the hotel I stayed in, I can't remember where the hotel is, but it is, they tell it to you straight to your face, they swear to it, that it's haunted by Civil War soldiers. Because what they did was, it was a hotel that was turned into a hospital. And during the war, and there was, this is a bizarre thing, but there's a lot of amputations during the Civil War. People were shot, they'd cut off their arm or leg. And they tossed all the limbs under the floorboards in the basement that people discovered, 100 years,
That's your Alan Poe story.
Yeah, so it's supposedly haunted by everybody who came back looking for their limb. And people tell the story of like walking in the hallway and just seeing a soldier standing guard by a door and things like that, like real creepy stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah, I find that kind of history fascinating. Because it's one of those things where I don't know what I believe. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's easy to say, oh, that's impossible, but how the hell do I know? I don't know what planets exist beyond the solar system. I don't know. I'm limited by the scope of my brain, how far it can imagine, and beyond that it falls apart. I'm not sure how they created the phonograph. Like, I don't have a lot of, space in there for complicated things. And so, when it comes to that kind of thing, I'm fascinated by it, because I don't truly know the answer.
Yeah, anything like that would be great in the show, in Supernatural, I think. But yeah, there's the ghost thing. New Orleans too, and it's...
New Orleans has a lot of that, yeah.
It's big time, yeah.
That's a cool part of your history that you have. You're from Hawaii, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very cool thing. We just got here right to start the convention, but the majority of us are staying for a little longer, and we'll get to see and experience a little bit more of your culture and your islands.
I'm going to be listening for some night marching.
Well, there's ghost tours that you can go on, or
Cool.
you visit certain areas that are like frequently reported to have those sort of happenings.
Awesome.
It's awesome. All right, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for the intel. You, young lady.
Hi, my question is for Richard. Thank you. The first couple of cons that I went to, you were not the host. I don't think there was any hosts at all, actually. And I was just wondering. I was just wondering how it came to be that you became the host, and if you were nervous or anything like that.
Honestly? Here's how it came about. Creation's always been really cool in letting us do what we want to do. Because what we want to do is always make the show better, make the show more entertaining. We happen to all be theater people, so for us it just comes naturally to want to get up on stage and make something bigger, better, and more entertaining for ourselves and ergo the audience. So, real quick history early on, before Rob joined the circuit, it was Matt Cohen and I kept getting the shitty assignment of hosting karaoke, which was like 4 people. It was like a church talent show, like 9 people sitting in this empty room and slowly walking up and singing The Rose and then, back to their seats. It was awful. So we kept changing it around and moving the seats and leaping around, and eventually Creation was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like that's fun, that's cool, the audience loves it. We've kept it free. It's always been something that doesn't cost money, so we wanted it to be that thing. Then with that working, they said, the Vegas show was coming up, the first time we were doing Vegas. So then Rob joins the circuit, and then Rob's part of the world and the family, and we're all having fun, and then Rob's in a band, and I knew that. But I didn't know Rob before a convention, so we're getting to know each other on the road, and they come to me and they say, hey, we want you to host Las Vegas. And I say, that's great. I will host Las Vegas if you let me hire Rob's band to be the band, and Rob to be the frontman of the band, and we'll have comedic, banter, and it'll feel like Kimmel. It'll feel like, my reference was Letterman, because that's what I grew up on, but it'll be that style of thing. And they were immediately on board. The only tiny caveat was they were worried about having a rock band if that'd be the right feel. So Rob and I convinced the boys in Loud and Swain to wear costumes, and we changed their name to the Elastic Waistband. It's a true story. So they didn't go by their real names. It was Hot. Steve Norton was Hot Carl. Billy was Sweet Johnny High Pockets. Borja wore a long blonde wig. They all wore 70s clothes like polyester. Borja wore a long blonde wig and was Sir Richard Furlong.
He's British.
Sir Richard. And Rob played Tango.
Just one name.
One name, Tango. And they wore those costumes, and that's when we started. And was I nervous? I was petrified.
We were too.
I was petrified. And I remember for that Vegas show, it was more like a theater. There was actually an actual theater with wings, and I sat in the wings the entire day, all 3 days, watching what was going on stage, because I didn't train. You guys stayed on stage the whole time for everything.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if we should, when I come out, it was all so new.
I remember we played Carry On, Wayward Son, and it was like, I knew that this song, was so cherished in this community.
Yeah.
And we're like, please, dear God, let us not F it up.
And now it's so second nature. It's the most fun thing we do, honestly, is goof around with each other on stage. The greatest joy I have in doing these events, Saturday Night Special is the most polished thing we do, and it's certainly just the greatest event of the weekend, but the most fun to me is coming out on stage and literally vamping with Rob and the band. It's just like, we never talk about what we're going to do, we never discuss it, it always is off the cuff and made up, and it's great theater sports, so it's just super fun. Keeps you on your toes.
I was there for the Vegas one when you guys first. I love the Elastic Waistband. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I was gonna say, I didn't see the merch. You guys are really well.
Well, thanks. We've done enough theater and things like that, and Rob been in a band forever, that nerves are a part of the game. You just get nervous. You get nervous before you perform. You get nervous before you audition, before you shoot a big scene. So nerves didn't overwhelm us. It's like when you get nervous, you kind of have to perform. You have to take that energy, and it's like Tai Chi. You got to channel that into driving you forward in what you're actually trying to do, and not let it be a roadblock. It's got to become fuel, not brakes. And we all were, seasoned pros in that regard. We were able to do that. Nonetheless, we were nervous. We were indeed nervous. But thank you for the question. It's cool that you were there for that. That's awesome. I still have my Elastic Waistband t-shirt, which I feel like is going to be in the Smithsonian at some point. You.
Hi guys. I was wondering if you could switch bodies with Jared and Jensen. What is the first thing you would do, and what would you be most worried about?
Yeah, what was the first thing I do, and then what?
Okay, if you could switch bodies, what's the first thing you do? What is the thing you'd be most worried about them doing?
As you.
Okay.
Because we're Freaky Friday with the boys.
If I were...
Which one am I? Can we decide? Because I need to...
I'm bow-legged, so I'll be Ackles. I would switch bodies with Ackles.
He's so tall!
So tall. I'll tell you exactly what I do. I would switch bodies with Ackles and then immediately tell my wife to unhand me. She'd be all over me.
No, he's you, so he's living in the Speight house. I would tell you I have to leave town.
No, listen. You know what? Stay out of the mix here.
Yeah. What's the first thing you do as Jensen then?
Go to my brewery and drink my beer.
Oh God, there's so much I want to do. I'm gonna play a game of basketball. I'm just gonna go talk to someone else so I can talk to him like this.
So grab that mug off that shelf.
Everything, every shelf. All the things I was never able to do in this body. I'd take my shirt off and just look in the mirror and go, yeah. Good job, buddy. And what would I be worried about?
would change everything about your phone, your email. He'd do.
He borrowed my phone for 30 seconds and ruined me. I mean, so within 30 seconds, he had tweeted out, "I hate children." So this is who we're talking about.
Yeah, he did. He had my phone for 15 seconds, and then texted my wife as if I was texting another woman that I wasn't going to be able to have dinner because I had to get home to my family.
It's so genius.
And my wife got that text and called me, which makes sense. And when she called me, the picture that came up was not of my wife. It was of Jared striking an unholy pose.
When he tweeted out that I hate children, the funny thing is that everyone who responded, I eventually deleted it when I found out, but all the fans who saw it were going, "Oh, Jared must have stolen Rob's phone." Everybody knew.
No, I get it. Thank you.
That's a good question.
Hey guys, I'd just like to say very quickly, thank you so much for being so kind and gracious all weekend. It's been a real pleasure. I'd also like to thank you, I've got my 12-year-old daughter Maddie with me, for saving me an inordinate number of mother-daughter hour conversations because you guys have covered it in the last 3 days. In fairness, Maddie has lost her voice over the course of the convention, but she would like to ask you both if anything supernatural has ever happened while you were on the set of Supernatural.
Some of the acting is just so grounded. It's incredibly natural. It's just supernatural. Jared got mad at me one time for owning a hairbrush. That's a side note. I just thought it was an interesting tidbit. Because I own a hairbrush, he literally railed, he's like, "What do you own a hairbrush? Just get out and just run your hands through your hair, and your hairbrush, and then vegetable." And I said, "That's great for you. I can't do that, my hair takes work. Your hair is just supernatural."
Such a long sentence.
The hairbrush story is true. He got mad at me for owning a hairbrush. Robert, what supernatural things happened on the set of Supernatural?
Nothing supernatural has really happened to me on set, although I'm sure the boys might have. Weird things happen on sets. I've been on sets where weird, quirky things happen, but nothing really, I was doing something like being able to hit Jared with a plunger and have him not kill you. That was pretty supernatural.
Yeah.
But that was nothing more than that. No ghosts or anything.
Thank you for your question. I'm glad you lost your voice. It means you participated. Good job. Well done. All right. Hi, man. How you doing?
I'm good.
What's going on?
Nothing much.
Okay, cool. Good talk.
Cool, man.
All right.
My question is, have you ever considered being on a comedy show? Because you guys are super funny.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I think Robbie and I probably respectively have done we've done comedies. We've also done a funny guy on dramas.
Yeah, I think probably our bread and butter has been playing the funny guy in the drama.
But to your point, we love comedy. We share an affection for the same style of comedy, which is why we teamed up and made our own comedy.
That's right.
It's what led us to make Kings of Con, for sure. In the career of acting or filmmaking or whatever, you don't have total control over what jobs you get. You can be a stand-up comic, you can make choices on your own that steer your career a certain direction, but you go in for jobs, and the job you get is the job you then go do. And sometimes that's a comedy, sometimes it's a drama, sometimes it's the funny guy in a drama, whatever. So I think Robbie and I both had roles in Supernatural that afforded us the ability to be kind of funny on that show. But yes, we love doing comedy. We love writing it, we love performing it.
And a funny little coincidence, one of the times we met before we actually knew each other, you were at a taping of a sitcom.
Oh yeah, which was a pilot taping that Rob was in.
Yeah, because you were friends with the creator of the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've done our share of comedy, but I think we've ended up in dramas quite a bit. But yeah, we love it.
We do, and we hope to be in more. Thank you for your question, man.
Thank you for answering.
Appreciate it.
Smart kid.
Yeah. so aggressive. It's so good. You know, I get the sense that somebody who makes more money than us is about to be on stage. Because more people are poured in here, and I'm like, we're in the zone. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but I'd be like,
I guess I was like, wow, we gotta keep it.
people are going out and getting their friends and drinking.
You gotta see these
You
guys.
gotta see this little act I discovered.
Which two guys is it? The same guys that have been on stage the entire weekend. But they're actually funny.
Take a question while I figure out what's going on.
Okay.
Hi again.
Hi. You'll be there.
So, trying to think of a question because I don't know how to talk to ex-Benedict.
Try me. We can do it. We can do this.
Do you have any reoccurring nightmares?
What a hilarious question.
This, I have one that someone asked me that question on a stage and I'm all by myself. Oh my God. No,
Dr. Ben and Doug over there doing brilliant work. Well played.
Here's your answer. That's a recurring nightmare.
You know who really has a recurring nightmare about that? Your neighbors who were watching us.
Now the best real quick story, we were shooting that scene in my front yard, and I live near the path where the tour vans come in LA. And a tour van pulled up. I jumped behind a bush so quick. It could not be more embarrassing. And then it was like by the time that they did the double take, I was gone. But they nearly saw me.
And they saw a couple of dudes in your driveway with a camera, so they definitely thought it was porn. Speaking of porn, that's the end of our panel, man. That's the end of our time. Robbie and I are done today. We'll be on stage again. But thank you for talk amongst yourselves.
Here's what's happening.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I don't know. But here I know it's not happening. Nobody's going on stage yet because nobody's backstage. So,
they'll be here soon.
They'll be here soon.